Want candy now?
What is going on, everybody, and happy All Hallows Eve season to you. This is Nazdarachi, and I'm coming back at you today with another Final Fantasy Record Keeper video. We have the Bra Bra, or Mesmerizing Melodies banner to go over pretty quickly here. Now, this is going to be a bard, musician-heavy banner. Pretty much all the relics on it are restricted to that class. Onion Knight has a little wiggle room. I feel like his BSB is on here only because he can use instruments, but he has a lot of functionality outside of the bard, dancer, musician type classes. But other than that, we do have some really good items in this banner, some things that I'm really interested in getting, and a lot of dupes as well. Beyond that, the Final Fantasy VIII event has also started. I'll probably be producing the video for that relic review tomorrow. I know I'm kind of a day behind on everything here, but what can I say? I like to spend extra time getting everything as nice looking as possible. So with that being said, expect the Final Fantasy VIII Relic review very soon. And for now, let's just dive into this Halloween banner and check out what type of melodical malevolence we have going on here. As well, you got some free relics upon logging in for the Halloween bonus. So the Pumpkin Carver, not really something super interesting, but the accessory that you get is actually reasonably good for the Paralyze and Instant KO resist. So, hopping right into the banner here, the first relic is going to be an Ultra Soul Break for Edward, instrument with 160, 35, 35, no bonus effects, and the USB temporarily raise the magic and mind of all allies a moderate amount, resistance a small amount, grant them haste, and reduce their offensive magic casting time for 2 turns. This is an extremely good mage support Ultra Soul Break here. The magic and mind buff with the resistance keyed in as well means it will stack with things like Mog's BSB entry, which is magic and mind. It'll stack with stuff like Sid Reigns, which is magic and defense up. So this is extremely stackable for your mage teams here. And then the offensive magic casting time for 2 turns is exceptionally good as well. You could do things with that like jumpstart Sid Reigns BSB, being able to hit his bargain and then start up the instant cast, both on a reduced delay. There's a lot of other combinations that this will be very functional with as well. But you're looking at the value here, Tri-Buff, Hastega, and the cast time reduction makes Edward even better of a mage support character. I would really love to pull stuff for Edward, even though I hate him as a character. He's exceptionally good in Final Fantasy Record Keeper. Next up here, we have another item. This is probably the item I want second or third most on the banner. You have a USB for Mog, the Timpaniani drum. 115 attack, 135, 172 mind, and no bonus effects. And the USB Forest Nocturne. Temporarily raise the attack, magic, and mind of all allies a moderate amount, and reduce the delay of their actions for 3 turns. This is a little bit more universal than Edward's USB. You can use this on a physical or a mage-based team, which is kind of counter to his BSB, which really only buffs mages and healers. So this does increase his usability on physical-based teams. He's already great just for being able to use 5-star Dancer and 4-star White Mage. So with this included in there, you do have even more of that good functionality to him here. The only issue I see with this is Mog is generally really bad at generating Soul Break gauge. If you lead with his BSB, you can spam out Command 1 for the instant heal to help generate gauge a little bit more quickly. But overall, I do see kind of a struggle here for deciding whether or not to use this or his BSB and potentially what order you might use them in. I consider his BSB to be a top-notch mage support BSB, so really I'm kind of torn with that in regards to this. Now, for whatever reason, if you're entrusting him and that's not an issue, then yes, by all means, you'll definitely want both of these relics. But Mog is completely functional as a mage support with just his BSB. So again, I would really love this item, but it's not really 100% necessary to make Mog as awesome as he truly can be. As long as you have your BSB with Mog, he's 100% functional. Now, if you do have only this USB, for example, and no BSB, then you'll still get some great utility out of this USB. But I think Mog's BSB is kind of where he truly shines. Next up here, we have the item that I kind of actually want the most out of everything on the banner. It's really this, and then anything for Edward, and then that Mog USB. The Black Quena It is an instrument for Kefka here. This is his BSB 2. Much better than his BSB 1, which is also on the banner. And unfortunately, that one is really not so great. I do already have that one. You have 81 attack, 138, and 63 with no bonus effects again here. And the Burst Soul Break, Harness the Fiend. 8 magic, dark, and poison attacks to random targets. Temporarily infuse the user with the power of dark and grant haste burst mode to the user. So his first BSB is more poison based. This one makes good on the dark with the end dark instead of the end poison. And as well, the commands are more useful also. So just all in all, much better BSB. The random targets is probably the worst part of this, but it doesn't have any breaks or any potential chance to miss anything. So if you're in a single target battle, again, that'll be irrelevant anyway. Your burst abilities here, Mad Delights, 2 magic, dark, and poison attacks to 1 target, and temporarily lower its magic a small amount, stacks up to 3 times. If the user is in burst mode, which why would you not be if you have access to this command, you gain 1 stack of Fiend Triad up to 3. Way of the Fiend. Deal 3 to 6 magic, dark, and poison attacks to 1 target. Number of attacks and damage dealt depends on the number of Fiend Triad stacks on the user. Unfortunately, this does take quite a bit of time to activate here, comparatively speaking to some other BSBs we have that have scaling options like this. It's going to take you all 4 turns just to get that maximum functionality of Way of the Fiend. However, this is an exceptionally powerful BSB, and I think, which feel free to correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I do believe he in the future gets a dual cast LMR, which I'm not sure if it's black magic or darkness, but both of these are dark, so regardless of which one it is, the black magic will be a little bit better. But either way, you can get double casting on this, which is going to unlock its full potential. When his LMR comes out and he can dual cast and get 12 hits off of this second command here, or alternatively, just build these stacks faster by double casting command 1, then either way, that's when you're going to again see the full potential unleashed on this relic right here. I would absolutely love to have this one, and it's honestly what I would be pulling for. And I think I'm going to do one pull on this banner. From here on out, it's mostly older relics. I actually think all the ones from here on out are old relics, so we can kind of breeze through them really quickly here. Hamlin, it's a moderately good BSB for Eco, 81, 105, and 123. No bonus effects. Prayer of the Lost is a large amount of HP to all allies, raise their critical hit chance a large amount, haste burst mode to the user. This is a good entry effect. It's not excellent for a healer, like you'd be missing, you know, instant or some other type of white magic effect that would benefit, you know, a healing situation. You know, Eco's best healing tool is her USB. This is good for specific reasons like the crit chance on a physical based team. I do have this one, and it, again, for a healing BSB, it's just a little bit under par, but it is still good. The first command, restore a very large amount of HP to 1 ally and enable them to avoid 1 physical attack. That's kind of unique and pretty useful. So you get the physical blink. That's normally something that we're seeing on certain healers LMR nowadays, like Minwoo for example. But Eco gets it built in at the cost of this not being an instant like you see on Iris or Y'shtola. So again, it has good utility, but in terms of just raw healing, it's not quite as functional as some other healing BSBs we've seen. And Wayfarer's Hymn, the second command, is identical to every other healing BSB2 command pretty much in the game. And again, it's just kind of an average white magic BSB. The crit buff used to be a lot better in the past now than it is currently, just because we have a decent amount of sources to get that from not our healers. So it's better when your healer has more healing functionality. But this is still very functional and will complement Eco pretty well, especially if you have her USB already. But again, her USB is her main tool for healing. We have a BSB for Kate Sith next, the Blue Megaphone, 81, 105, and 137 with no bonus effects. Your BSB Lucky Girl, temporarily raise the attack of all allies a moderate amount, defense a small amount, and critical hit chance a large amount, and grant haste burst mode to the user. I actually do like this one as a supporter. I haven't gotten a whole lot of time to use it, but the Soul Break animation on it I do like quite a bit. It is quite entertaining. And the buffs here are pretty good. You get, you know, a large crit buff to the whole team, defense small, attack moderate, quite stackable. And I don't know, Cait Sith is not your S-class support character, but he's really close. He's quite a good character, actually, for being such an annoying toon in Final Fantasy VII. You have the Toy Box Hammer, 2 white magic non-elemental attacks to 1 target, and lower its attack and defense a small amount. And Toy Box Fat Chocobo, 2 white magic non-elemental attacks to 1 target, temporarily lower its magic and resistance a small amount. So each command is kind of dependent on what you're facing. If you're in a physical-based dungeon, you'll probably be spamming the Toy Box Hammer, and the same for a magic-based dungeon down here. And that's pretty much it. I mean, there are certain bosses that are going to be hybrid where you could hit them with all 4. Or, for example, if you are running Cait Sith on a mage-based team and in a physical dungeon, or vice versa, if he's on a physical-based team and you're against a magic enemy, you have all this cross-versatility here. So, in rare cases, you will be using both commands, but if you're purpose building and kind of really focusing your team and the dungeon that you're bringing it to, you really only have to connect with one of the burst commands. Everything on this is very stackable, and Cait Sith, being a good supporting character, can make use of this. Next up here, we have a BSB for Edward, the Lamia Harp. Instrument, 134, 68, and 38 mind. Small chance to confuse, which is the first bonus effect we've seen on this banner, but not super ultra useful. Again, it's going to be resisted by a lot of high-level enemies, but can kind of be functional on trash mobs leading up to those battles. You have the BSB, the Whisperweed Ballad. Lower the holy resistance of all targets, temporarily raise the attack of all allies a large amount, and grant haste and burst mode to the user. It's a very unique entry effect right here, a great source of holy imperil, as well as kind of a shout effect for the whole team. The Hastega is missing, but the holy imperil definitely makes up for it if you're in certain situations that require that. Edward's also good at supporting for mage-based teams and physical teams alike. So, again, just great character in FFRK, despite how much I dislike him in Final Fantasy IV. You have the Soothing Lullaby, ranged physical holy damage to 1 target, temporarily lower its attack and magic a small amount, and sap the user. And Baneful Nocturne, deal ranged physical holy damage to 1 target, temporarily lower its defense and resistance a small amount, and sap the user. So the sap is kind of unfortunate. It's something that you can get around if you are using like Mog, for example, who can give regen, but any source of regen or ultra cure can kind of get rid of that. You'll probably not want to do that though until after the BSB is over, because otherwise you're just wasting hones, because he's going to sap himself again. And these commands, you'll be want to using both of these in pretty much every fight. Unlike Cait Sith, who has kind of the cross commands that are functional in very specific situations, no matter what dungeon you're in, this is going to be your offensive breakdown, and this is going to be your defensive breakdown. So definitely use both commands here. Again, very unique and functional BSB in the right situation. I wouldn't mind having that one at all. Next up here, we have the Dancing Mad. Great name on a horrible relic and not great BSB. That's quite unfortunate. But it's Kefka's BSB 1 here, 81, 131, and 63 with no bonus effects. And you have the Symphony of Madness. 8 magic poison non-elemental attacks to random targets. Temporarily infuse the user with the power poison and haste burst mode to the user. Kind of average entry effect there. This BSB tries to be as good as Quistis' BSB, but it's definitely not. Now, in terms of magic-based team building, you might be able to squeeze this in there with Quistis to get kind of that magic-based poison vibe, but you probably want to throw potentially Edgar on there as well, because he has the Poison Imperil Super Soul Break. You do have the burst abilities Rotten Ruin, 4 magic poison and dark attacks to 1 target. Super ultra basic, there's no modifiers or anything complicated about that at all. And Jester's Dance, temporarily lower the attack of all enemies a large amount with a small chance to slow them. The small chance to slow is not going to proc often enough to be a replacement for actually bringing Slow-Go when you need it. It's not very often it'll go off at all. The attack breakdown is useful, but you can get that from elsewhere, so it's kind of a bum burst command here. It doesn't do any damage or have any third or really standout effect on it. And the first burst command is just super basic. It'll be good when his LMR comes out if you happen to not get his BSB2, because you can potentially get 8 hits off of it. But just overall, Quistis is the better magic poison dealer, comparatively speaking to this BSB. Now, Kefka has functionality outside of that, and with his BSB2 and upcoming OSB, which the animation on that looks absolutely friggin' amazing, that's kind of where Kefka's going to shine, not so much here. So I believe this is the lowest chance BSB to drop at right around 1% even on the banner. But yeah, that's the one you're definitely not going to want. The Harness the Fiend here, this is the good one. And next up, we are at the Vessel of Fate, a very well-known and still relevant BSB. It's quite old, it's been around and seen in many banners and anniversaries. It's a great place to get it if you don't happen to have it already. You could venture a pull here, but I'm assuming that everyone's pretty much going to understand what this one does here, and I don't even know if I'm going to show the Soul Break animation for this one, because most players already know it, and it's been featured in my videos before. You do have the attack magic to all allies and Haystega. Very, very stackable, very functional. Again, it's been out for a long time, and it's very, very tried and true, time tested. I still use it to this day. Extra Slice, 4 physical attacks to 1 target, remove the delay from the user's physical attacks for 1 turn. Onion Knight does magic better than he does physical. His damage output will always be better when you stat him for magic. So this I usually never use. I'm either wrathing to get more soul break gauge, or if I need Swift Spell, non-elemental damage, I pretty much always build him for magic. Which Swift Spell is exactly the same as Extra Slice, but you have the 4 magic non-elemental attacks instead. And that's it. Again, most people should know this one pretty well. I definitely have featured it before in older videos, so I'm not going to spend any more time on it. But again, it's a great place to get that BSB if you haven't seen it already. For anyone who's new, it is very good. We have Super Soul Breaks next. I believe there's only 3 of them, but we have the Battle Trumpet for Kate Sith here. 105 magic, 81 attack, and 122 mind with no bonus effects. You have 8 white magic non-elemental attacks to 1 target, and temporarily raise the critical hit chance of all allies a large amount. You are not going to be using this at all if you have his BSB. Like, all your soul break gauge can just go to recasting the BSB, and it'll be completely invalidated. You get the plus 10 mastery points, but again, you're really not going to want to use this if you have the BSB. So we can skip through that one real quick. Super Soul Break for Edward here, the Soul Harp, 114, 68, 38, no bonus effects, and Soul Song. Reduce the offensive magic casting time of all allies for 3 turns, temporarily raise their magic and mind a moderate amount, and that's about all. His Ultra Soul Break is an upgrade of this. You do get delay reduction for 1 additional turn, kind of more similar to Mog's USB, but if you have the USB, there is not really a good reason to use this. Yeah, another one that's just kind of been remade and outdated by a USB. This Super Soul Break is actually quite good. This one right here for Edward is actually quite good if you happen to not get his USB. You can still get some functionality out of this. But just be aware that if you're running Mog as well, you can't stack this with Mog's BSB entry. So if you're running Mog, you have Mog's BSB, you don't have Edward's USB, there's not really a reason to use this. But no Mog and no USB, then it's got a little bit of relevancy to it. Lastly here, we have the Gaia Bell, Super Soul Break for Mog, small boost to earth damage. I've actually covered this relic before recently, and even though this is a really good buff right here, it's on a terrible relic because a mind-based instrument with earth damage is really only custom tailored to Mog. Nobody else is going to be able to use this and get functionality out of it or any type of damage because mind and earth damage are not going to stack very well. So again, great bonus effect, but horrible relic for it to be on. Super Soul Break Earth Blues, 6 white magic, earth, non-elemental attacks to all targets, and temporarily lower their attack and defense a large amount. This is a relevant and reasonably good buff, but at this point, if you have his USB and his BSB, you'll never see usage of this. Even just recasting the BSB alone over and over again is better than squeezing this in, and that's mostly because, again, Mog is really, really bad at generating soul break gauge. So I have this and his BSB, and I almost never ever use this Super Soul Break right here, which is sad because the animation where Mog tosses some sunglasses on is really friggin' cool. I like it a lot. But I don't get to see it very often, and that's about every relic on this banner. So going through everything, the Hamlin is a dupe, Megaphone's a dupe. This BSB for Edward would be new. That Dancing Mad is a dupe, Onion Gauntlets is a dupe, and the Gaia Bell would be a dupe as well. So there are tons of duplicate items on this banner for me, which is kind of scary, but I think I'm going to make one 11 draw, just because I would really, really love to see pretty much anything for Edward, BSB, USB, please, and then Mog's USB or Kefka's BSB too. It's really risky, and again, our 100 gem bad luck continues here, so maybe that's a good sign for an actual 11 draw. I'm not sure. But I'm more attracted to this banner than the Final Fantasy VIII banner. The Final Fantasy VIII banner is absolutely great, don't get me wrong, but I feel like I could get better functionality for what I need if I happen to get lucky here. So let's go ahead and try it and just see what happens. Our 11 draw has been made here. We're on a pretty bad string of luck with 100 gem pulls, so maybe we can make it up here. Doesn't look like it though, but if one of those is Kefka's BSB2, I will be actually quite happy. No USB for Mog, no USB for Edward though. It's quite sad. I needed that a long, long time ago. Well, I did get Edward's BSB. That's interesting. I guess that's enough reason to start using him. Just for that Holy Imperil and the attack buff. So I'm actually kind of happy with that. I would have really preferred Kefka's BSB 2, but I'm sure it will be back in the future, so I'm not going to go nuts chasing it here. As well with Mog's USB, it's something that's got to come back in the future. So this is bad, this is good, I'm actually happy about that. And that's really all the resources I'm going to devote to this banner, because I have so many dupes across it now. The risks is just through the roof. But I can sneak back down here and make some 100 gem pulls. So let's see if we get lucky. The 100 gem bad luck has got to end one of these days. But it doesn't look like it's going to be today. Oh lord. Alright, let's try Final Fantasy 15 and see what happens. God, man. So unlucky on every single one of those. 0 for 15, unless I get something here. Then it'll be a real shit show on those banners. Oh my god, I got a 5-star dupe! Oh, what? Alright, well, that was my first 100 gem across all 15 of those banners. Cam actually was responsible for pulling me this a little while back. It is an absolutely amazing BSB, and it doesn't have any bonus effects on it, so I can combine it, I guess, for even more synergy. Ugh. Well, that's all the resources I have for tonight, you guys, and I'm already gone a little bit past my time limit, so I'm going to have to edit down. I do hope you enjoyed this Happy Halloween episode here for the Bra Bra banner. If you guys made any pulls, I hope you did have great luck. Be sure to let me know. If you pulled on Final Fantasy VIII, let me know what you got. If you pulled on Bra Bra, let me know what you got. And the renewal banners as well. I'd love to hear it, get some discussion and some dialogue going. If you guys enjoyed the episode, feel free to give me a thumbs up. Definitely helps me out, spreads me out on YouTube, and I supremely appreciate it. Again, if you're new around here, hit the subscription button and the notification bell as well, and you'll be notified every time I put something new out. And again, I hope you guys have a great evening. Expect Final Fantasy VIII coming up here soon, and I'll catch you on the next video. Have a good one, y'all. Peace out.